SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information.
Welcome to SBR Forum's World Sports Weekly show. I'm Natalie Rydström. I'm joined now by Richard O'Hagan, sportswriter and regular contributor to SBR Forum. And we're going to be taking a look at the preliminary final matches for Aussie rules. Richard, welcome to the show.
Hi Natalie, it's nice to be back.
The second preliminary final takes place on Saturday between Fremantle and Sydney Swans. The sides met twice in the regular season. Sydney edged a close game at the SCG in round 2, whilst round 8 saw a thriller ending in a low-scoring 70-70 draw. Both of those games were in Sydney, however. This time the Swans head to Perth, where they haven't played against the Dockers since 2010, although they did win that game. Now firstly, Richard, how much of a surprise have Fremantle been in this season?
Oh, Natalie, they've been a real surprise. They've pretty much come from nowhere. They've built themselves up over the past few years. You mentioned that 2010 game. Well, Fremantle were rubbish in that season. They've come back slowly, they've built steadily, and this year they've been the real surprise package in the AFL, for not just for me, but for most people that follow the game as well. So, yes, not really a surprise to see them reach this stage of the playoffs now, but if you'd asked me back in February when the preliminary matches for the season were starting, I'd have said they had no hope.
Well, the question is now, Richard, is can they win this game and go on to win the grand final?
Absolutely. I think that one of the things we always talk about in sport is that DM word, momentum, and that's definitely with Fremantle. They had a relatively easy run into the end of the regular season. There were some concerns about whether or not when the going got tough, they'd be able to keep going, but they have done, and they've definitely played probably even above themselves during the course of the playoffs. So yes, absolutely no reason why they can't win this game at home in front of a hugely partisan Western Australian crowd and then go on and win the grand final in Melbourne in a fortnight's time.
And is Fremantle the team that you'd have your money on to win the whole competition, Richard?
It's Fremantle's the side I've had my money on to win the whole competition for about the past 2 months, Natalie. I think they've been going great guns, and I think they should manage to continue with that all the way through to the end of the season.
Right, Richard, and what bets are you looking at making on in this game?
Well, Natalie, the first bet I'm looking to make on this game is going to be the under 175 points in the match. You have to go back over 5 years of games between these two sides to find one where one of the teams scored more than 100 points. And I can't see that happening this weekend either. So that's going to get you a reasonable price because people expect more points once they get to this stage of the playoffs. And then the second thing, again, I'm going to be looking at the come-from-behind win. It's been a bit of a Fremantle speciality this year, is to be trailing and come back, hit teams hard in the second half of the game. So I'll be looking for Sydney to be ahead at half-time, but Fremantle to be leading at full-time. And that is going to be round about 7-1, which is my favourite bet of the weekend.
Wonderful, Richard. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Natalie.